with an eating disorder, you can reach a point where you're so muddled with how do I have a good relationship with food in my body? What does that even look like? I can't even remember having a healthy relationship with these things. What would you say to somebody who just doesn't even know what that looks like anymore? What are some indications?
So I have a few things listed here, and I'm just going to go through them. One of the things I do want to say is many of the things about living as an adult, that transition into adulthood requires a lot of changes that happen, which were not part of our lives when we were small children. We didn't have all those changes, or not in a conscious way at least.
Mm-hmm.
So it is confusing when you figure out how to be, after this metamorphosis of teenage. So I'm just going to read a few things, and then they kind of cover a few of the areas. I put it under the title of living with the body in peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm living in this body in peace, which also entails living with food with peace. Um, I eat in accordance with hunger and fullness without constant mental interruptions about what is healthy. I can actually live my life without weighing myself or calculating when I'm going to weigh myself next. Not being caught up in reading labels and calculating. Not freaking out if I change a dress size. Not hanging on to clothes of a certain size to keep check. Knowing that all the calories that I eat will balance out over a month or a year and not 1 hour to the next. Without a compulsive relationship with exercise. A more complex understanding of the body and food than good and bad and healthy, in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom to eat a meal and go on your way. The body does not need day by day or hour by hour monitoring. Being able to look in the mirror and meet myself as I am without comparison and criticism. That might be a bigger one. Recovery is not about eating the random muffin. Recovery is actually about acknowledging the secret agreements and disagreements in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Those are all really, really good points. Would you say that, so let's say that somebody is, doing fairly well with a lot of those, but there's one that's just really, really, really sticky. Like, what would you say when it comes to somebody being, I guess this goes into the conversation of fully recovered, or different various stages of recovery?
Yes.
Because I know you have a lot to say about hanging on to little bits and pieces.
Yeah, so some of these things, the last one about, it's not like I ate a muffin. I think about one of my clients who said, okay, I'll take a bite of a bagel, and then what happens, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really, I say that it's not really about that bite of a muffin or a bagel or something. It's really about the secret disagreements and agreements in my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give up this, but I'm going to hold on to a corner of this. Or I'm going to have that one pair of jeans in my closet just in case, right? And often I'll tell clients that pair of jeans, it will talk to you from the closet. And it's there, it plays a role, right? And that little agreement I have in my mind that, when everything is better, maybe I could lose a few pounds and then fit into that pair of jeans, because now I'm okay.
Yeah.
And now I truly, truly believe I'm in control.
Right, and I can lose weight again, but in a healthy way, because
yes.
Oh, yeah.
But just that thought that, how much of my mind, and when I sit with somebody, I'm often gauging again what I call the edge or the urgency of that feeling or that thought, right? So I am kind of biding time. We all know that we can white knuckle it to the next point.
Mm-hmm.
I can just bide my time. So I'm just going to, just do all of these things for 3 months, and then I should be okay enough to. I think about somebody who keeps asking me about when can I exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when that is no longer a question.
Right.
When you don't care about it, because right now you care about it too much.
Right.
And it's like a little cactus leaf, it will grow from there. So I'm going to say that I think it is hard when I've seen my recovered clients, they look back and it's like another state, right? So if I were to talk about the brain, it's almost like I was all in fight and flight, and now my prefrontal cortex is working better. And when my fight and flight comes up, I know what to do with it. I can ease myself, right? Or soothe myself. So in that fight and flight place, it's almost like when somebody asks me the question, I'm just kind of gauging how much of fight and flight is this question coming from. You know, when can I do this? When can I go back to, or whatever. So people know, people know when they're keeping a little part of it. Actually, I find that my clients
You just have to dig around for that little bit of self-awareness. Well, I think that list that you just gave is really great because it goes far beyond what I think is the general marker for people who are recovering, which is eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. Because I remember striving for that, but then of course being so mixed up with my hunger cues and mixed up with my thoughts of health that that was really difficult. So your list is,
it brings us back to the top of the question of am I friendly with my body, right? Do I think of my body as a friend? Do I have an easy relationship as I would have with a friend I trust? Or am I thinking about the body as something that always requires controlling, right? And as we know, control equals anxiety, right? So it's, if I have anxiety about other things in life or whatever, my feelings, we can work with the feelings separately and disconnect them from this language of food.
Right.
So